They thought it was the perfect crime until the body was found. You're listening to Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski, featuring psychotherapist and author Shavaun Scott.
Let's watch one more clip here from the trial of Robert Tellis. Some tough questions that he was asked. And obviously, you know, he had excuses for pretty much everything. And everyone was in on this conspiracy. I thought the prosecution really laid out just how ridiculous it is. This is from the closing arguments. Let's take a look.
And here's the thing that struck me when I took over this case. I would submit to most people, probably before ever hearing about this case, had no idea what a public administrator was. He is not a U.S. senator. He is not a governor. He is not a congressperson. He is a duly elected official who manages an office of approximately 8 people. And their job is to assist people who pass away, who don't leave a will and leave property behind. The public administrator's office is not at the forefront of everyone's mind in this community. No one learns about this until who brings the office to light? Jeff Gehrman. And what's amazing is if you believe that story about this conspiracy, all of these people and all of these entities were willing to sacrifice their reputation, their business, their police department, even the public administrator's office. They're all willing to put it on the line to kill a reporter, to get that guy, even though he's leaving in 3 months. Does that make a shred of sense? Absolutely not. But what it does give you a window into is what's in his mind. That is how important Mr. Tellis views himself. That every single one of these people, every single one of these entities were literally willing to kill another human being who is not him just to frame him.
I think very well put. I like that prosecutor. He seems to spell it out pretty clearly, although the jury obviously having some difficulty with it. What was your take on that, and especially some of Tellis's reactions to being called out?
Yeah. It's just striking to me that he really believed by spinning this bizarre story that he was going to convince people of his innocence. It makes absolutely no sense. I thought the prosecutor did a great job. The other thing that I can't quite get over, I can't get it out of my head, is at one point Tellis was giving testimony about being 6'5" and yet still wearing lifts in his shoes. And he said, well, I admit that was due to vanity. How tall do you have to be?
That's interesting. That right there kind of screams of narcissism. Of like, I have to be the tallest, the most verbose, the most everything in the room, and nobody can say, let's watch one more clip of Robert, just because it's just fun. This is some tough questions being thrown at him.
You don't doubt that whoever that is killed Mr. Gehrman. That would be fair, right?
Yes.
Okay. You had mentioned one of the things that struck you was you watched the autopsy, or you saw the autopsy photos, and you were struck by the violence of it, correct?
No, sir.
No, you did not? Were you bothered by the photographs?
I was.
Why is that?
Gruesome. I'm not used to seeing dead people.
Okay. I think you said it was ugly. Is that correct?
I may have.
All right. And you had told this jury that you felt like it looked like someone who knew what they were doing. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You believe this was a professional hit?
And that's what I believe.
Okay. So, and you believe this killer is kind of almost like someone hired to do this job, like an assassin, essentially, right?
That is what I believe, yes, sir.
All right. Now, I want to take a look at this picture for a second. The assassin seems to be wearing a giant sun hat. It's a pretty big hat, right?
Yes, sir.
It's fairly noticeable, right?
Yes, sir.
You think that might attract attention?
I would think so.
Okay, but this is a professional.
Right.
All right. And this professional is also wearing a bright orange shirt, correct?
Yes, sir.
Professional?
Yes, sir.
But wouldn't that attract attention?
I think that's part of the reason, actually. If I could elaborate.
No. You believe that professional assassins want to draw attention to themselves when they're carrying out murder. That's your testimony?
When they're framing someone, yes, sir.
So the answer to my question is yes. You believe professional assassins like to draw attention to themselves.
It depends on what the nature of their goal is, and if it's to frame someone, yes, sir.
So the answer to my question is yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Professional assassins want to attract attention when they're trying to frame someone. Wouldn't the goal there to be not seen whatsoever when you're trying to frame someone because you want to make it appear that it's somebody else?
I would think so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was just the whole trial. Well, that's why we're talking about it. Weird.
Yeah.
One thing on top of another. Totally weird.
Yeah, there's, I believe the clinical term that you've brought to light before, Fruit Loop. Yeah,
Definitely
what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
You're neck deep in a dark, twisted tale, and just as the tension peaks, bam, a commercial about some miracle diet pill breaks the spell. It's like finding a fly in your soup after the first bite. But here's the fix. True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. You get to enjoy your crime stories without the junk. Ad-free episodes, extended interviews that go beyond the surface, and early access to all the gruesome details. It's like swapping out a can of cheap beer for a glass of fine whiskey. So search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and keep the darkness flowing uninterrupted.